G'day guys and welcome back to Jans_Gaming for another Dokkan Battle video. So today's video going to be going over my concept for the worldwide download celebration or worldwide celebration, whatever you want to call it. We did get the leaks a little bit ago from iSeriously saying that it was going to be a cooler movie celebration, and then we've had a few confirmations since then with the tweets from the official account and then also the V-Jump leaks that have just dropped. So was waiting on the V-Jump leaks just to sort of go through this, see if it did bring out anything for us. So yeah, as you can see there, Super Saiyan Goku and Final Form Cooler extremely likely. So here are the Dokkan V-Jump leaks. Sorry, as you can see, you've got the dual, what looks to be the dual Dokkan Vest units. I would presume being the Final Form Cooler and the Super Saiyan Goku. Now we don't know if that's taken from Super Attacks, whether that's SSR, TUR, LRR. We can't be sure yet. But then also going through the tickets, and that does say spending 50 tickets for one LR guaranteed. So that's probably in reference to the Memorial Dragonstones, which we should be getting next week. So that'll be interesting to see how much everyone gets for that. Um, You've got a down the bottom left. You've got the Kid Gohan and Icarus. That is reportedly for a free event or an event that you can do once a week or something like that to get free stones. So we usually get one of those during the worldwide. And then you've got the free-to-play unit, the Kid Gohan and Goku down below. So looking at this initially, what would I like from the Dual Dokkan Fest? I'd like to get a new Final Form for Cooler all the way through. No transformation, just stays at Final Form Cooler. And then I'd like the Goku side to be a base Goku. Now, the reasoning behind that is because we have just recently got a really good Kaioken Goku from the Saiyan Saga. He's insane. And we've also got a still top tier Namek Goku that is Super Saiyan. So you look at the unit slot that is sitting free at the moment, and that is base Goku, with the best base Goku being version Z Goku. We could certainly use an upgrade there. And by being a base Goku, with hopefully a transformation into Super Saiyan, which would be very surprising if he didn't, we would be able to activate links initially for the Kaioken Goku and then transfer into linking really well with Super Saiyan units. So if that is an active skill transformation, it would really help with linking and team building in that regard. So I'm going to run through what I would like to see from the two units. Now, they are extremely similar, much like the Frieza and Goku last year, so that probably will make Cooler the better unit, which most people might not be too keen on because extreme class units don't usually get the crazy amount of love that the Saiyan units get, or the super units, but we'll go from there. So what I'm after here is a slot 1 unit. Now what I mean by that is I want Cooler to have either damage reduction or guard with a high percentage passive. So last year we got the stacking units, and while they do stack the defense, they're not ideal slot 1 units. They can be especially Frieza can be really slow to build up because he does stack on his 18 key, and because Cooler would be sharing a lot of teams with that Frieza, having a unit that has higher damage reduction or guard with a big old passive percentage, being able to just trust in throwing him in slot 1 and being able to take very little damage would just make this unit so valuable. Slot 1 units are pretty few and far between. So the second thing is defense on Super. You look at all the top tier units that are coming out at the moment, they are either greatly raising or raising their defense for one turn if they're not stacking. So we really need one of those three options. Would be insane if he got the 50% boost for the 3 turns, but yeah, as I said, greatly stacking or raising defense on one turn would be extremely likely if the unit doesn't stack. And in that regard, you're also looking, I would love, they've really got to have multiple supers or the ability to perform multiple supers in their passive. By not having that, you look at the JP LRs that have released recently, all of them can perform additional supers. Otherwise, the unit's damage just really doesn't stack up against some of the newer units. It's just plain and simple. The worldwide download celebration units are usually top tier, so I can see both the Cooler and Goku being able to perform lots of supers. If we do continue on with the STR Cooler sort of mechanic, maybe there is some type of condition to this, like a HB condition or a certain amount of hits received or attacks performed, but I would like to see the crits against pure slash hybrid Saiyans continue. Would just add a lot of offensive value to this Cooler. Whereas at the start, as you can see, I've spoken a lot about his defense capabilities. We have to get the nullify and counter key-based super animation. I'm sure everyone knows the animation I'm talking about, where he sort of Cooler flies through the Kamehameha and then punches Goku. That's got to be included on this, and I think that would also help bolster his ability to be used as a slot 1 unit as well. Those two sort of things go hand in hand, so that is a must to be included on the Cooler unit. And then lastly, I'd like the active skill to be the Supernova. We don't have a well animated Supernova in the game. It would be cool to have it as the 18 key, but I think if we, with the amount of effort they are putting into active skills at the moment, by having that as that active skill, it would be absolutely insane. So for the Goku, as I did mention, base Goku into Super Saiyan Goku, everything I said about the slot 1, the defense on Super, multiple Supers, all applies to this Goku. As I mentioned, they're going to be very similar units. What I did want to add to the Goku was also a bit of Super support. Now, if we could, I can't imagine the Goku is going to get support, but would love to see him get just a 2 key, 20% attack and defense. It could be limited to what I presume will be a new category that gets brought into the game, which certainly is fine, but if that was all superclass allies, that would be absolutely insane. Rather than nullifying and countering the key base like Cooler, would counter the melee based supers, just like when Goku does get punched by Cooler in the movie. That's not as good of a feature as the key based nullification, but in saying that, it's useful and it does sort of fit the movie a little bit better. Then I would also like to see a transformation into Super Saiyan with the bird animation. As I mentioned earlier as well, that being in active skill transformation would be ideal, because then you can sort of determine which Goku you want to use based on who you're running him alongside for links. For banner units, I would like to see a Kid Gohan and Piccolo. Just a Piccolo alone, or just I guess you could even Kid Gohan. We've both had recently released units for both of those, so I figured a joining between the two of them. They're not going to be the most insane because of their links, but if you build them, and the same with Thouser, I'm thinking you got to build them with the type of utility that we do have from the Fascia or the Chili that just dropped. So giving either of them, they could get a mix of dodge. They've obviously have to be support units that can stack, orb changing, of course, and just a few common key links, and these units would be super usable. Chance to dodge being really big for them, because you do want to be using those type of support units in slot 3. So having the confidence, if they get a great chance to dodge, that would be amazing. And if they didn't want to go down that route, it's always safe to go with a stacking super attack effect. Give them the ability to perform multiple supers like the AGL, Trunks and Goten, and you can make them viable in that regard. I would assume that they will support their new categories that Cooler and Goku will probably introduce. So that's sort of where I was leading with that. For part 2, it's been pretty well speculated that they will have to go to the Return of Cooler movie, and I wholeheartedly agree. After rewatching both the movies, there's just not an insane amount of content that they can draw upon yeah, they'd be scraping the barrel in terms of really hype units to bring out for Part 2 LRs. So I've gone with the straight Metal Cooler. He would only be competing with the AGL Metal Cooler, so we don't have a crazy amount of options in that regard. And then the Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta that do, and in the end, finish off uh, Metal Cooler in the Big Getty Star. So they would be battling with position with the, I believe, the Int Goku and Vegeta who form into Vegeto, but that's not going to be an issue. They would be able to be used on different teams. You can use them on the same team realistically. And then they're also not the craziest LR until they do go into Vegeto. So using them on maybe a team like the movie heroes, if they have Kamehameha, you get that 200% there. They could literally just flat replace the third year anniversary Easy A. So that's what I'm looking for there. No specifics in terms of what I want each unit to do, but you look at even the Part 2 LR last year, Namek, Vegeta, even big numbers is still sold with him. He just needs a little bit of kit to make them both good. For the Easy A units, I've got 6 listed here. So I've got the Namek Goku, the AGL Meta Cooler, and the STR Cooler are my 3 Dokkan Fests who could get Easy A's. Any mixture of those 3 would be extremely good. I feel like I would love SDR Cooler to get his Easy A because it's going to be so impactful having him next to a final form Cooler, just with the support, great linking. It's just a win-win. The Namek Goku we did think was going to Easy A last year, so if he's able to get his Easy A now, that would be handy. Let him stack in his initial phases, and that'll automatically make him so much more viable. And then you've got the banner units. You've got the Kid, Gohan, and Icarus. Easy route for him is to increase his dodge chance, increase his stun chance, and then also just buff up his stats, and that's going to make him a lot better, give him a little bit of support. You've got the Cooler's Armored Squadron. Again, support. They're a bit wonky because they're not really a great linking partner for Cooler, so they really need to buff up his support. And then for the Tech Core, he's literally just a blank canvas. They could do whatever they wanted with him, but I just feel like those 3 units aren't going to be looked at as units that could get Easy A's at other points in the game. This is just a logical time to pump out all of those Easy A's. They did mention difficult content. Now is the perfect time to release the Fighting Legendary Freezer event. Now you'd add in Mecha Freezer. You could, yeah, that would get it up to 6 stages, which is still a little bit short, but you could add Angel Golden Freezer in there. You could drag it out. And I think just up the numbers again, artificial difficulty comes in with category missions, more stones. It's just such an easy way for them to provide us with a lot of content, and just even though it's not fresh, it feels fresh. So yeah, I feel like that is an easy fix to some difficult content for us. And then for the free-to-play unit, as I did mention, we're getting a Kid Gohan and Goku. What I want from them is a dodge chance. It's got to be high at a minimum. That 50% chance is just so much more reliable than the 30, obviously. But we need that. As a free-to-play unit, they still need to have that 2 key 40% attack and defense support. Otherwise, they're just not going to be worth running. With their own stats being potentially low from being a free-to-play unit, they're just not going to find themselves on teams where they're going to be worth running, because you look at they're going to be on Goku family. There's been talks that it could be an exchange from the Kid Gohan, so they will be on Hybrid Saiyans. So there's 2 very competitive teams there. Movie heroes will be the same, very competitive. Free-to-play units, easy way to make them good is by giving them defensive stacking and then multiple supers in their passive. Give them a role, with the defensive and support, and nobody is going to be mad about that. So there you go, guys. That's my concept for a cooler celebration. Let me know down below whether you'd be keen on these types of units. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to keep up with the content, and hopefully I'll catch you all on the next video.